Welcome to the World Collective Master Talk series. Today's guest is Aslaug Magnusdottir, CEO of Katla. She is also the co-founder and former CEO of luxury e-commerce site Moda, Operandi. Her brand Katla uses on-demand manufacturing to create a zero-waste model, unique tracking numbers to create transparency into the origins of every item, and environmentally friendly fabrics, including seaweed blends. Today, she will be discussing how to build a brand with purpose and accountability. One of the biggest opportunities for brands is to tackle overproduction and the challenges of raw materials to reduce the impact of the environment. And will be moderated by Sophia Lee. Sophia Lee is an award-winning multimedia journalist, film director, and environmental advocate. Harvard named Sophia one of the top climate communicators of 2022. She was the recipient of the Refinery 29's Sustainable Innovator Award.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce Aslaug Magnusdottir today. Thank you so much for being here. She is the CEO and founder of Katla, which is a sustainable fashion brand. Hello, Aslaug.
Hi, great to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being here. And are you tuning in from Iceland today?
I am actually currently in the Bay Area, heading back to Iceland in a few weeks. Just had my baby boy here in San Francisco. He was born 2 months ago, and the family will be heading back mid-August to Iceland.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you have an incredible and extensive history in fashion, climate, sustainability. You're one of the co-founders of Moda Operandi, and I wanted to ask you, how did that all intersect? Being Icelandic, how did this all come about, fashion and sustainability?
Yeah, so growing up in Iceland, I always was a big nature lover. We have very stunning nature there, and I guess sustainable living is kind of ingrained into the culture in Iceland. I moved to the US for graduate school, so left Iceland quite some time ago, and moved eventually to New York and started working in the fashion industry, and in 2010 founded Moda. And at the time, we started with Moda's trunk show concept, pre-order concept, and part of my goal there was to better match supply and demand. So I felt like it's a very inefficient fashion industry where there's a lot of waste. And the trunk shows helped solve that to some extent. Over the last few years, I, like everyone else around the world, has started to better understand the significant impact that the industry is having on our environment, and the fact that it's responsible for 10% of carbon emissions, and it's the second most water polluting industry. And so I started thinking more and more about, how can we as an industry step up and try to come up with solutions. And I felt like there's so much buzz around sustainability, but we haven't been taking drastic enough steps. A lot of smaller steps are being made, but I think we need to make some drastic changes. And with Katla, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a model, and I realized that when you're starting with something new and small, it's easier to design it from the beginning in a way that is more sustainable. It's very hard if you're dealing with big companies with a lot of history and existing supply chains. But with Katla, I wanted to try to think of a business model and a way of doing business that could be as environmentally friendly as possible. And of course, we are not perfect. We still have a long way to go, but we are learning as we go and gradually implementing new processes to try to get there further and further.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued by Katla and why you started it. What do you think Katla is doing in the sustainable fashion market that no other brand has done yet?
So I think one of the most distinctive things about Katla is our manufacturing model. So I realized that one of the big impact things is tackling overproduction. As an industry, we're going back to my earlier point on matching supply and demand. we're not very good at that. We overproduce on average 30 to 40% every season. So merchandise that either gets marked down significantly or thrown away. And if we could figure out a way to not do that, we would at least be having major impact. We're talking about billions of units of garments every year. So with Katla, I decided to use an on-demand manufacturing model, which means that we wait for customer orders to come in, and we're a direct-to-consumer brand, which means consumers are buying directly from us. We then manufacture the item and ship it to them. So we're really only manufacturing what has just been ordered or that we can plan is just about to be sold.
So it's made to order.
Yeah, so it's made to order, but I often made to order people associate with very long lead times. And I realized if we want to have meaningful, if we want to change the industry meaningfully, we can't just be selling product that people have to wait for many weeks for. So I think part of the solution to this is fast on-demand manufacturing, which is what we're working towards. So we've spent a lot of the time over the last couple of years since we launched refining that manufacturing model, getting the lead times down. So we're down to about 3 to 5 days now from when we placed. Yes, so it's taken, and we have great factory partners, which is the critical thing here, to find vision aligned factories that want to work this way, because most of the industry still does not. And the goal is to get that down to 1 to 2 days for most products by the end of the year.
Wow. Where are your factories? Where do you produce?
So they're currently all in the United States. Most of our customers are in the United States, so we wanted to be close to our customers. And our largest manufacturing facility is in Phoenix, Arizona. And,
so there's
Yeah, and over time, as our international customer base grows, we'll look at also international manufacturing. But for the time being, this works best for us to manufacture locally.
Okay, to ensure that there is no excess inventory.
Yeah, and so by manufacturing close to the customer, we're also helping with these lead times, tackling this problem of customers don't want to wait. They want to be environmentally friendly, but they don't want to wait. So by manufacturing close to the customer, that also helps us to shorten these lead times. So if it takes us 3 to 5 days to make something, and then it's another couple of days to ship it, it ends up not being too long a lead time. But we're working on getting this shorter and shorter this time.
What about, does Katla follow seasonal collections or?
We don't, and that plays into it as well. So I think that's another important part of trying to move towards sustainability. I think the problem with seasonal collections is you're telling the consumer that after a certain period of time, this product isn't as relevant or it's lost its value. And I think it's important that people try to, buy clothing that's more timeless and they can wear again and again, and hopefully can be relevant in a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. So we design clothing that has more of this timeless essence. And most of our items carry forward. And then we introduce new items, of course, regularly, but not on a seasonal schedule. We're really trying to listen to our customers, what they want, their feedback, and then introduce items gradually as to fulfill those needs.
Okay, amazing. And how did you approach the materials, like materials sourcing and?
Yeah, so materials are absolutely critical to this. And there's been a learning process for us with respect to that. So we've, from the beginning, tried to find the most environmentally friendly fabrics. What we currently work with are, so we don't actually use silks. We use what I call a vegan silk. So we use Ecovero, we're using Cupra blends. We use a lot of organic cotton. So we are a loungewear brand. So we sell a lot of sweatsuits and hoodies. So organic cotton. And what I'm really excited about is what we just recently launched, which is seaweed cotton blends. So
tell
yeah,
me everything about this. Okay.
So this is a seaweed blend hoodie we just launched, and here in mini size as well for babies, hoodie and pants, so a little suit. So a lot of reasons why I'm excited about the seaweed. So seaweed is actually 20 times more effective at carbon sequestration than land trees.
Yes.
So it's a major tool that we have for fighting climate change. And with Katla, we wanted to get very involved in that. I think there's a big future for seaweed in our brand. So in parallel to launching these seaweed blend collections, we've embarked on seaweed cultivation in Iceland. So we wanted to really make sure that we're taking more carbon out of the environment than we're putting in. And the seaweed blends are also great for your skin. They feel really soft. They have vitamins and nutrients that potentially do go into the skin, and they feel great. So there's both the benefits to the climate as well as to the skin. And my ultimate goal is to have enough cultivation going on that we are actually that we have a fully regenerative brand. And we're going to be doing a full life cycle assessment of the Katla hoodies and sweatsuits, seaweed hoodies and sweatsuits, along with the Finnish University in the fall. And the goal being to create items that are inherently regenerative. So when you buy a Katla hoodie or sweatsuit, you know that you're buying something that was not destructive to the world, but actually is doing good while creating clothing. So that's a little bit throwing the model of fashion on its head. We're always telling people buy less, buy less. People aren't buying less. So how do we solve around that? How do we make the fact that people continue buying fashion a positive? How can we have a positive impact on the world with the products that we create? So
amazing. I want to dive into the regenerative aspect of this. So beyond the materials, it being regenerative, the seaweed, how else are you approaching your business model to be circular and regenerative?
Yeah, so many aspects. So the material selection is important in that respect. And we actually initially worked with, and there's been a learning process for us. We initially did work with recycled synthetics, and we decided to remove those completely from the collection and not work with any synthetics. We do offer our customers a resale recycling program. So we ask them, please do not throw your item away if you no longer wish to use it. We will pay for the shipping of the item back. And then if it's in good enough condition, we will resell it and otherwise recycle. So that's an important component. We are big on transparency as well into the supply chain, and if the item gets a second life, to be able to provide that identity. So just again, showing you this little hoodie here. There are two elements here. So this first one, this is a unique tracking number actually for this hoodie. It's a number that it's unique to this single item. So as a customer, when you get this item, if you type it in on our site, you can get the history of this garment, where it was made, what the fabrics were that were used. And if it becomes a resale item later, then you can see, oh, the first owner was based in New York, the second owner is based in London, etc. So it's a digital passport.
Yes, the digital IDs.
Yes, exactly. And then the QR code, that's another important aspect of our business, which is somewhat unique, or I think quite unique. So in March, we became, I believe, the first fashion brand to deliver NFTs directly through clothing. So we launched a partnership back in March where anyone who had bought a Katla item that had a QR code, and many of our styles have those, they could scan those QR codes and get an NFT, a free NFT. And this was a collaboration we did with an Icelandic artist, Hendrika, to create these beautiful NFTs. And we're actually, the QR code you'll see on the screen here, if you scan that, you can actually take ownership of an NFT from that collaboration. That was kind of our first step into NFTs back in March. And now in September, we're going to be launching, or in the fall, we're going to be launching a bigger collaboration with this same artist, where we will be doing 10,000 unique NFT drop with her. And those will be tradable NFTs that we will initially sell and then will become tradable on OpenSea. And 15% of the proceeds from those NFTs will go to regenerative work. So they will be 15% of proceeds will go to seaweed cultivation in Iceland. So well, I think I think NFTs are an extraordinarily, they open up a lot of possibilities for, it's kind of a modern day way of, contributing to a cause. There's so much wealth in the crypto space. And so I think NFTs open up an interesting way for people to contribute to causes they believe in.
Yeah, well, lucky viewers if they could scan the QR code that was just shown. Okay, so let's talk about this NFTs, because what is the utility of it? So that's incredible that this was the first fashion line that delivered NFTs, but what is the utility of it?
So the giveaway was really that was the purpose of it, was really just to give people the experience of taking ownership of a beautiful NFT. So the portraits that this artist makes, they're a portrait of women. So they symbolize female power, female strength, which was important to us. Now for this second drop, which we're doing in the fall, we are building a big community of female ambassadors that are supporting this initiative. They're a group of ocean lovers. There are many athletes, divers, surfers, kiteboarders, as well as female entrepreneurs and creatives. So people that will be taking ownership of these NFTs will become part of that community, will have access to that community. We plan to have a number of community events. There will be educational elements around ocean regeneration. And there will also be, to some level, access to really inspiring women who have started businesses or are world-class athletes, etc. So we will be developing that and announcing more in the fall. But it's really a network of extraordinary women that we're bringing together.
Amazing. What blockchain are you building on?
Polygon. Okay. So yeah, so again, important to us to have an energy efficient solution. So Polygon we chose, which is also supported by OpenSea. And we additionally have a technology partners, which we partnered with to make this initial project of scanning the QR codes and easily transferring ownership of the NFT through the QR code. We partnered with a company called Ivy, so Ivy.scale, and they've built a technology that it means the user or the person scanning, all you need to do really is to have a phone. And you don't have to have a wallet beforehand. You don't have to really have any technology. It takes a few seconds. You follow the steps on the phone, and the transfer of the NFT is easily taken care of from well, in this case, from the screen and to the user who's scanning it. So this technology component was absolutely critical in terms of being able to do this in an easy way from the clothing.
Yeah, amazing. So let's zooming out of Katla for a second. What do you think needs to happen in the fashion industry at scale?
So so that's of course a big and really important question, because Katla is one brand among millions, and we need major change in the industry. And I do believe, I mean, we need to look holistically at it. I think part of the issue in the industry now is that brands are tackling one component. Sometimes they're tackling the materials, sometimes, and all of those things are great and positive. Everything we can do to move in the right direction is good. But I think a more holistic picture is important. And I do think this manufacturing component that I mentioned is a critical element of that. I think this overproduction of 30 to 40% every season it's astronomical. These are extraordinary numbers we're talking about. And to the extent that brands can start to better plan, and I think on demand and on-demand manufacturing plays a big role in that, having a better understanding of what is going to sell, and then more flexible supply chains that allow for shorter lead times. It requires a big mind shift change. Most manufacturers around the world aren't set up to work in that way. So there's a big learning process that needs to take place. But I think this evolution will be one of the most critical to making change. There's, we also need to do a better job of educating consumers. Consumers need to put pressure on brands. Of course, brands have big responsibility, but when consumers start really demanding change, then they're going to be forced to move faster to do it. So I think it's, the word sustainable is, used in so many different ways. It's confusing to people. What does it mean? How, even if they want to do the right thing, they're not sure necessarily how to, and there is no one right answer. But the more we can educate and the more holistically we can look at the problems as an industry, I think the better.
Yeah, sustainability means everything and nothing at the same time.
Exactly.
So you were saying like consumers should demand better. Like, what's the best way that consumers can do that? Like, is it through what we buy? Is it conscious consumerism, ethical consumerism, or is it larger than that by like actually protesting?
I think the most critical thing in the end is through what we buy. I mean, in the end, these fashion businesses, most of them are for-profit businesses that are trying to sell product and trying to make money. And if they see that consumers are shifting away their spending because of their practices, then that's going to force them to make changes. Of course, the more we can spread the word, the more we can educate, the better. But companies are going to go after the money in most cases. So that's critical.
Yeah, and so my last question, I guess, is like, how do you balance doing good for the world and then making a profit? And like, can they be aligned? Can those two things of like conscious, ethical consumerism and capitalism, can that go hand in hand?
Yes. So the beauty of it for the fashion industry is I don't think you need to compromise. I actually think a sustainable business model, it can be a more profitable business model. If you think of a business that is overproducing by 30 or 40% every season and either selling those items at a huge markdown or not at all, versus a business that has potentially a higher unit cost of manufacturing, but is actually selling all of the items it makes, and you look at the overall margin achieved, the sustainable model is actually a more profitable model. So I think profitability and being environmentally friendly in this respect go fully hand in hand.
Yeah. And I think that needs to be the norm that we embrace at large, at scale.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Aslaug. I so enjoyed learning about your journey and about Katla and all the incredible initiatives that you guys are doing over there.
Thank you so much. Great to be here, and have a great rest of your day.
You too.